This week in One Piece, this new 8-cost dragon is a spiritual successor to the banned 8-cost Moria. Whitebeard, top to regional, some exciting new events coming to an LGS near you, and don't buy EB02 at these prices, please. First, a small note, we had this big dump of cards right at the end of last week. All these alongside Conqueror's Hockey and a couple of others I covered in a separate video. There's a card for that on your screen now, if you want to hear me talk about these cards in particular. First up, for the new cards, we had Boeuf Burst, or Boeuf Burst, interestingly. This is a 3-cost Straw Hat Crew type event. Activate main if your leader is multicolored. Choose one. Either bounce a 4, or if you have 6 or less cards in your hand, draw 2. So this is the first one of Sanji's events that we've had revealed from the new set. This is pretty much what he needed when this was first revealed. A lot of people thought it was a bit of a shame he couldn't use Sanji's Pilaf, because that is just East Blue type. So having this Boeuf Burst be a Straw Hat Crew sort of pseudo-locked version of Sanji's Pilaf, I think makes a lot of sense. It's also really nice that he can use this to alternatively bounce another character. If you've got too many cards in your hand, or you just need to bounce an annoying character or blocker, well, this is a great way to do it, especially because it's free with Sanji's leader effect. In other decks outside of Sanji, this has a bit of competition in terms of that draw effect. Your main competition is, of course, Sanji's Pilaf, but also this VV. This VV has basically the same text and 1k counter, and is then a body on board. So you do have some competition there. I do think we could see this see play, however. In Blue Purple Luffy, they've messed around with Sanji's Pilaf in the past, and whilst you can't stack this in life with Lin Lin, this is searchable off of your Luffy's leader effect, which could be nice if you just need to draw a couple cards. And Nami sometimes plays the VV. I do think the VV is better in Nami, because Nami doesn't really play a Straw Hat package. But in the future, if we ever see Nami transition to a Straw Hat package, maybe we'll see her include the Boeuf Burst. Next up, and this is a banger, Demonic Aura 9-Sword style Asura Dead Man's Game. This is a 1-cost Straw Hat Crew event that has 2 effects. Similar to other cards like Divine Departure, this has the counter effect, where you can buff your leader by 3k, which is great, but the main effect is what we're really here for. You can rest 3 Dons, so this is a 4-cost event effectively. You can rest a total of 2 of your opponent's characters and or Don cards. This is crazy. So this is a Hody Jones on an event. Especially in decks that can search this is going to be bonkers. In Green Purple Luffy, this is Straw Hat Crew. You have approximately 1,000 searchers for Straw Hat Crew in that deck. And Green Purple Luffy, now having an even more aggressive tool to be able to go for game, is bonkers. This is the one green deck that really couldn't play Hody Jones, because not only is he not Straw Hat Crew, so you can't search him, he then turns off your leader effect, so once you play Hody, you don't get to restand those Dons, so you do lose quite a bit of value. This just solves all of that. It's a really nice counter event, of course, and just making it so easy to go for game in this next format. That's going to be crazy. We've seen in OP12, they're printing loads and loads of blockers, and OP11, if you look at the meta there, it's already full of blockers like the 8-cost Katakuri and 5-cost Nami, as well as counter events, mainly Gum Gum Giant, but other options are available too. But being able to turn off your opponent's Katakuri blocker and one of their Dons is just going to be bonkers. Same goes for Zoro. This is obviously the deck that it's quote-unquote intended for, being searchable off both the Hiyori and the Perona. I also think this would be very good in Smoker, because you get to restand your Dons often with Smoker. You just had 3 Dons, and in the past they've used that for cards like Gum Gum Mole Gun. We could see Asura Dead Man's Game take that spot, or even come in alongside Mole Gun as a different option. This card just is so generic. I imagine you will see this in literally every green deck. It is competing a bit with Hody Jones. So in a deck like Bonnie, where you get quite a lot of value out of taking that life because you're taking off a lot of your opponent's aggression anyway with your leader effect, you may just play Hody. However, this is going to be a consideration in every green deck, at least while blockers and counter events are as popular as they are. Next up, we had Monkey D. Dragon. This is an 8/8 black Revolutionary Army card. This is one of our last SRs. I believe we've only got a couple more to go. On play, you can return 3 cards with the Rev Army type from your trash to the bottom of your deck. If your leader has the type Rev Army, play up to 1 character with a cost of 6 or less from your trash. So Gecko Moria was an 8 cost that summoned a 4 and a 2. What's 4 plus 2? That's 6. In theory, this is the same Don value as Gecko Moria. It's obviously much more locked. You do have to return those Rev Army cards. So you're locked to playing a fairly heavy Rev Army package in your deck. And your leader does have to be Rev Army. Currently, we have these 2 options. But you can summon anything. We're going to go over the best summons in a moment. But I guess this is why all those Rev Army black cards in the new set were doing trash, right? You had the Koala Searcher that was like a Spandam. And you had that Ivankov that randomly milled 3. I guess this is why, right? At least we know. Obviously in Koala, not only is this just a really good card, this fulfills your leader condition of needing 8 costs. I also think this will be pretty promising in Red Black Sabo. This is a deck that's seen a very, very small amount of success while I've been playing. That's about a year or so. However, could this finally be his time? Let's take a look. So, firstly, generic cards and Koala cards. Nico Robin, it's pretty good. You get 2 8 costs, one of them's a big blocker. Your opponent loses a bunch of cards, you gain a massive board. Karasu is okay. It's a second 8 cost that you can summon, and then your leader effect is immediately online. And then you get the hand trash a little later. Kuma is an obvious inclusion. Being able to play an 8-8, summons a 6-7 that then heals. And then because they're both 8 cost, that's going to fulfill your leader condition, so you're going to get to draw a card. This seems very, very powerful. This is going to be one of the staple combos. This Kuma and this Robin, this black one, I think are the main 2 cards that are going to be ideal summons off of this for Koala. Sabo, if you just need a blocker, he's in type Rev Army and also Dressrosa. So this is pretty good. You can bring out these 2 characters, make it so that none of them can be KO'd by effects, and you get a nice cycle. Not bad at all. Nico Robin is an interesting option. We do have the Koala Searcher that can search directly for Nico Robin, which is kind of cool. And an 8-8 that summons a 6 that trashes one of your opponent's lives could be quite compelling. And also Linlin if you really want, but I don't think this is going to be as popular. In Red Black Sabo, here's a few cards to think about. I think the number 1 is this red Ivankov. If you can play an 8, summons a 5, and then that 5 summons a 4, maybe even Karasu, I mean, that's pretty crazy, right? That's some mad board spam. And then your opponent's not going to be able to remove a lot of it, as long as you have that Don in your leader, because you can use his effect to protect your characters, which is crazy. Of course, you could just summon Karasu. This card is bonkers broken. Don't forget how good this card is. Reducing the power of your opponent's leader is nuts. Don't sleep on Karasu. Speaking of sleeping, the Sleepy Luffy from ST21. If you just need a bit of rush, this is one of the most efficient rush options, certainly for 6 or less. You could go with Yasop for a bit of defense, although I'm not quite so sure about this one. I wonder if we could see this 6-cost Sabo see a bit of play. If you could combine this with an effect like Raise Max, who is also Rev Army, maybe we could see this Sabo do something. I somewhat doubt it, but it will be quite funny if we did. He is 6 cost exactly. And also a reminder that in Red Black Sabo, 4 ways to fill your trash. Not only do we of course have cards like Bello Betty for searching, and all the other Rev Army support in red, we've got the stage. The stage is going to be really good for your consistency if you're playing a very heavy Rev Army Red Black Sabo. Being able to trash exactly what you need, both to fulfill Dragon's cost and also get the perfect summon for him, is going to be really good. And also, a small note that this can summon Rebecca. I don't think this is going to be as crazy as Gecko Moria summoning Rebecca. But anything that can summon Rebecca scares me. This card is bonkers. Let's move on. Last up for new cards, and this was revealed whilst I was recording. So, just some small initial thoughts on this one. This is Shakky. She's an Amazon Lily type character, 1/2/1K. On play, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, reveal up to one Monkey D. Luffy or a red event, and add it to your hand. Place the rest on the bottom. So nice searcher for your Luffys and your events. Obviously intended for Rayleigh. She is Rayleigh's wife, girlfriend, whatever. Being able to search out what is one of the best cards in the deck in this Luffy, as well as, of course, all your hockey events, as well as some more niche events, maybe like Mole Gun. Could be pretty cool. Additionally, you can search out this Luffy, who's a 2k, and could be quite good in a deck like this, actually. Being able to play him off of this first Luffy, and then if he survives, then you can put 2 Dons on him, and he's at 7k power, which is pretty good. Can also be buffed by Rayleigh's effect, and this Luffy needing 2 Dons to be attached, and this Luffy also wanting 2 Dons to be attached. I forgot about this Luffy when I was first talking about this 4-cost one, but I actually think this synergizes quite well with this little package we've got going on here. Outside of Rayleigh, I don't think this will see a lot of play. If you're specifically looking for events in like a Zoro deck, you're probably just better off playing the Buggy. He's got that extra power, which is really relevant for your aggression. Means you only have to put 1 Don on him with your leader effect. And you're also competing pretty hard with Nami. She can, of course, search for Straw Hat. She can, of course, search for all the good Straw Hat events like Jambay and Mulgun. This only really makes sense, I think, if you're playing these hockey-type events. And in a deck like Rayleigh, where you are so reliant on events to play the game because of your leader effect, that you may need a card like this. In terms of the news, we have a couple of new events, and we're finding out finally how we're getting the rest of those cross-guild promos. This is a new 2-on-2 event. So this is going to be at your LGSs. You're going to sign up individually, and then you'll be paired in teams of 2. If you tell the store who you want to be paired with, they will do that. If not, there will be random pairing. Try and get a friend to team up with, because if there's an odd number of players, somebody's going to be left out. But either way, there is one funky rule in this that you will have to note. You cannot use leader cards that have all the same colours. So this means, for example, if player 1 is playing red Shanks, player 2 cannot play red Luffy. You can play red purple Luffy, or red yellow Betty, or even purple Shanks. You can have leaders with the same name, just not the same colour. And of course, you can't both play red Shanks. That goes without saying. This is a Swiss tournament, so you're going to get points based on the performance of your team members in the rounds. And then at the end, all the points will be added up, and the winner will get this cool winner version of this Crocodile. This Crocodile is a decent option in Buggy. Nothing too crazy, and we are getting that starter deck very soon. So not sure how much play this will see, but it's pretty cool. And for participating, you'll get this regular version of the Crocodile. Next up, we've got the OP11 Prerelease event. This is nothing funky. If you've done a pre-release event before, you'll know what to expect. If you haven't, make sure you subscribe to the channel. I'll have an OP11 pre-release event guide coming within a couple of weeks or so. This is taking place at the end of May to the start of June, 1 week before the set comes out, funnily enough. And this is how we're getting the last of the Buggy promos. This Mihawk. Mihawk's also a decent option. If you win your pre-release, you're going to get the winner version. And just for participating, you'll get the standard version. I do find it quite amusing that these cross-guild Buggy promos have just turned into show up to LGS events. It's quite amusing, but somewhat of a shame we didn't get these back in OP09 when Buggy came out. But with that starter deck on the horizon, maybe these are cards you're going to want to get your hand on. One last new event announcement, we have a beginner's deck party. So if you were around for the last wave of 6 starter decks, that was when the Blue Doflamingo and the Purple Luffy one came out, we had a similar event. What you're going to do in this is you're going to show up to your LGS, buy a theme deck, and then you're going to play basically sealed with your deck against other people with their starter decks. You're not going to be able to make adjustments to your deck. You're just going to have to play with it straight out of the box. And there's some pretty cool prizes for winning. There's some alt arts of a couple of cards that you could add to those decks. This is really a good event for beginners, but it can be fun for experienced players alike. I'm going to have a full guide on this, probably in around 2 to 3 weeks on the channel. We also got the confirmation of the next wave of store tournament promos. This is going to be starting in July, so a couple months from now. We've got the EB02 Prerelease Zoro. So don't overpay for these because this is going to be a store tournament promo. We've got the EB02 Jinbei, who is not that good, sadly, but he's okay. And we've got Sengoku from the Smoker starter deck. This is a really cool one. I love this art of the Sengoku. I think this is really cool. And we've got the 2-cost Katakuri. This is making quite some waves in both Purple Katakuri and Purple Yellow Pudding over in OP11. Now, those might not be the most competitive decks, but they certainly are meta relevant. And this card is pretty good. We're, of course, also getting winner versions of these cards. Here they are if you want to check them out. Moving on to the results section, firstly, an apology and a correction. This week in One Piece, I erroneously put out that Bonnie had won an event. I should have known Bonnie would never win an event. The Mulheim Regionals, we had 4 Shanks, 3 Teach, 2 Doflamingo, 2 Reiju, which is pretty impressive actually. 2 Reiju making top, and one of them actually got top 4. 1 Bonnie, 1 Smoker, red-green. 1 Lucci, 1 Zoro, and 1 Pluffy. And the 1 Lucci did take it down. This was Lear, so congratulations to Lear, and my apologies for getting this wrong last week. In terms of this week's events, we had Core TCG's Online Treasure Cup, and this one was a 512 player event with a top 16, and the top 16 was 4 Pluffy, which is pretty wild, 3 Shanks, 2 Usopp, 2 Teach, 2 Bonnie, 1 Newgate, 1 Dofi, and 1 Reiju, which is crazy. 1 Newgates, man. And the winner of this one was Jerry with his Purple Luffy. Probably the most interesting card in this is the Blast Breath. We've seen quite a few players choosing to play the Blast Breath recently. The 5 Gum Gum Giants, pretty good as it turns out. Also opting for more Straw Hat searchable 2Ks in the Frenosuke over the Kamazo. More people have been transitioning away from Kamazo, and this guy's got full playset of 4 Bong Clays, which is pretty cool. In terms of conversion rates, the expected was 3.1, and every deck that made the top 16 other than Dofi did exceed that conversion rate. Pluffy by around 50%, which is pretty impressive for the best deck in day 2. Shanks, pretty much on par with what was expected. Usopp had a pretty mad conversion rate, but again, there was only 2 Usopps in the top, although out of 18 players, that's pretty cool. Teach, about what was expected. Bonnie overperforming again due to low player numbers and 2 making top cut. Whitebeard, who knows, I doubt there was many Whitebeards though. Dofi having a slight underperform, but nothing too notable. And Reiju, I don't know, less than 18 players on Reiju, although that means she had a pretty good conversion rate overall. In terms of notable zeros, Lucci not making top cut for the first time in a while. Lucci's usually there, but today he wasn't. Red Green Smoker is a staple of this tier, and Zoro has also been here a few times. Now, normally I only cover the winning list. However, Whitebeard made second, so we've got to cover this. Shout out to JCM1117. This is his Whitebeard list, and man, this is sick. We've got the Nami Straw Hat package with cards like Sanji and the Roronoa Zoro that keeps up tempo, along with a full playset of Chopper blockers. This is sick. I love this deck, man. This is really cool. We've also got some other really cool inclusions. 4 of the Ace that you have difficulty removing, which is really nice, I imagine, for keeping up some board tempo. Full playset of the Ezo, which is kind of wild. You've seen this mostly in Red-Green Odin, but I guess turning all of your bricks into 2Ks is pretty good. And this is, of course, a very, very meaningful body. 5/7, great stat line, and does give a Don on play. 4 of the 7-cost Ace for your board control and a bit of aggro. And 2 Roger, no 9-cost Whitebeard. We're going to commit to going to 0 and playing out Roger and winning with Roger. Of course, in typical Whitebeard fashion, we've got 4 Rad Beam and 3 0-cost, lots and lots of counter events, as well as quite a number of 2Ks. And that Ezo effect to be an extra 2K. Really cool to see an innovative Whitebeard list. Not only top a regional, but get all the way to 2nd place. This is crazy. If you're a Whitebeard fan, now is clearly a really good time to be playing this deck. Next up, we had TAC Games May Online Regionals. And this one, not a lot of different decks. 7 Shanks in the top 16. 7. That's wild. We've not seen Shanks dominate any tournament at all, but it's very fair to say he did this one. Also, we had 3 Teach, 3 Dofi, 2 Lim, and 1 Bonnie. This was the winning list of Shanks from Zhejiang Lo. Nothing too crazy in this list, a bit of a hybrid build, opting for a full playset of the Red Hawk with just 2 of the Uta Searcher. Again, this is a Shanks build, there's nothing too crazy in it, let's move on, but congratulations to Zhejiang Lo. And then TAC Games had another event the next day, which was an online treasure cup. And these pie charts could not be more different. Look, Shanks is massive, nearly half the top 16. And in this top 16, he's barely there. There's only 2. What's going on? I don't know. But this one was just completely different. Clearly shows that there are a massive amount of decks viable in this format, no matter what colour archetype you like to play. And this one had 4 Doflamingo, 2 Lim, 2 Ploofy, 2 Shanks, 1 Bonnie, 1 Teach, 1 Betty, 1 Marco, 1 Red Green Smoker, and 1 Starter Deck 14 Luffy. That's his first top in this format. Really cool to see. And this was taken down by Nice Lim with Lim. A nice Lim indeed. Taking his namesake all the way to the victory is pretty cool. Interesting in this one, we are seeing 2 of the 5-4 Smoker. And I mean, this card's pretty good. It's just a big body with Banish and Restand to Don. It's nothing really too crazy, but it is a good card. So interesting that we see the Smoker in this one. Moved away from the Orochi Devil Fruit package in favour of a Poo being your extra 1 cost, seeing none of the lore, and just 2 of the RDO 2k, a few less 2ks, and 3 of the Top Knot. This card's really good for getting rid of especially Jesus Burgess, but a few other cards as well. And you can sort of always afford to do this Don -2 in Lim because you get to 10 so fast. Next up in the Market Watch section, I want to put out a small PSA. Don't buy these EB02 cards at these prices. Some of these prices are utterly ridiculous. This is just pre-sale sellers living off hype. You don't need to pay these. Just wait till the set comes out and then wait another week or 2 if you can, and these prices will fall. I'm going to cover the American prices, then I'm going to bring over the European prices on Card Market, as while still extortionate, they are a lot more reasonable. So as you can see here, Sanji Pudding is just nuts. Nobody is selling this currently for less than $55 for a copy, which for an SR is just disgusting. Most of these other SRs are also very overpriced as well. $15 for an L, not even seeing this C play. $10 for Vegapunk is just silly as well. I expect most of these SRs to sit around maybe $2-3 because the allocations for this set do seem quite low. This is the first time that my local gaming store has had less than what they've ordered. Our local store always orders 2 cases of every set. This time is the first time they've been reduced down to 1 case, which everyone who ordered stuff has still got what they asked for, but it is a bit of a shame. In addition to the SRs, the rares are just getting scalped as well for some reason at the minute. I mean, like, $5 for an army rare. Do you really need me to tell you this is a crazy price? Like, this is just silly. Here's one more. This secret rare Luffy. Nobody's paying $100 for this. Actually, they are. There's no way 11 people actually paid $100 for this, right? There's no way. There's no way, man. $100 is the bananas. At his peak, Bon Clay was like 40. Bon Clay's way more splashable than this. I think we'll see this, I don't know, maybe around $20. Once the set actually comes out and people open their product. If Green Purple Luffy does quite as well as it did in Japan, maybe this will rise after that. But honestly, I really don't see it. I think the Green Purple Luffy is going to be probably the best deck, but I don't think it's going to be as dominant over in the West as it was in Japan. Those bans have changed our meta. Doflamingo is no longer gatekeeping the format, so there's much more room to be innovative with your lists to counter this. It's crazy seeing some of these other prices, right? Like Sengoku for $20. Like, are people buying these? Apparently 4 people bought this at $20. That's mental, man. Has anyone bought this Nami at 5? 25 people have bought this Nami at $5. There's no way. The most recent sale, $4.49. That's crazy. What is going on with this, man? Man, Americans, y'all got too much money. That's crazy. Let's take a look at the European prices. Because these are still bonkers, but they're like much more reasonable. Here's Sanji Pudding, for example. This is like the SR. Seeing this at $16 pre-sale, an average of around 16 pounds. So it's probably around $20 pre-sale. This is still really overpriced in my opinion. However, this is much more what I would expect to see from a pre-sale price for the SR in the set. Take a look at some of the other SRs. The Sengoku that was $20 in the States. Yeah, you can get this for about £5. Again, this is not a £5 card. Don't pay £5 for this, but if you do have to get them at pre-sale, the European price is so much better. I really feel bad for Americans. You have so many more scalpers on TCG Player. It's just crazy. Let's take a look at Vegapunk. This guy was $10 out in the States. Again, around £5 over in Europe. And this is an average of 3. Not too bad. Let's take a look at the secret rare. The main man himself. Luffy. It's a reminder that this was $100 a copy, and people were buying them at $100 in America. Average price for this in Europe, $42. I can buy this right now for $45. Again, I think this is hideously overpriced. I don't see this being over like £25 probably once the sets come out and people open their stock. So please don't buy at these prices. And certainly don't buy at the $100 price the Americans have got. That's mad, man. It really just kind of... Yeah, it's sad. In terms of what people are buying, to no surprise, Bon Clay is getting more and more popular as we edge towards OP11. Not a major increase, only about $5. And not too many people buying this. But I think this is one that if you're planning on playing Blue Purple Luffy, you may have to consider thinking about picking these up soon. This has been crazy for a while, and it's not going to see much play in EB02, but as we get into OP11, that blue-purple Luffy hype is going to start rising, and this will rise up. Sanji is the other one. This is the other secret rare that you need for blue-purple Luffy, and it's actually a bit lower than it has been. This was I imagine, when the leader was revealed. Went up to 36. 27, and there's one here for 25 plus shipping. This is expensive, don't get me wrong. But for the secret rare that defines a tier 0 deck in OP11, if you're going to play that deck, this could be worth picking up now. Rayleigh's dropped a bit, right? Yeah, Rayleigh's continuing to drop slowly. I imagine this will continue as we look into the next couple of formats. Red, not looking too popular, especially red with Rayleigh. Shanks is going to be alright, and if that Shanks deck is significant, maybe we'll see Rayleigh increase in price again if Shanks gets buffs. However, Shanks was not the most popular deck in the East in EB02, and is certainly not doing that well in OP11. Whilst he can compete, he's definitely not on top anymore. Sanji, this is continuing to drop. Yes, you love to see it, man. When this was at $14, I found that just crazy depressing. Now this is down to like 6. This is 5 plus shipping. This is where this card should be. This is a really good SR, but it's nothing broken. I do think this is one that is worth picking up for the future. Looking at that Rayleigh deck, this is going to be very popular in that. Looking at Zoro, traditional Zoro with that new Luffy, this will be very popular in that. And this is just generically a really strong card. I do think this one that's really good to own 4 of. If you're someone that likes to own playsets of all the top cards in the format. And for $5, this is much more compelling than when it was 14. Brook's still 30. Man, this guy's shot back up. Black got banned. He went woo all the way down to 20. Now he's back at 30. That sucks. We'll see how well Lucci and Smoker do in this format. I think people are hyping them to do quite well. Myself included. I think Lucci and Black Smoker are going to see quite a lot of success this format. And Brook is a key part of that. So... feels bad, man, though. This will definitely get a reprint in PRB02 when that comes out later in the year. But for now, enjoy paying $30 for this one. That's sad. Finger Pistol slowly rising again. Yeah, up to $10. It's about the same it's been for a while now. Right, since like mid-March, it's been $10. Blackbeard is getting that starter deck, though. I really hope we get a card that's similar to Finger Pistol. Maybe even a little bit worse, but close enough that Blackbeard players can substitute it into their Blackbeard deck. Because just having to pay $10 for a rare just feels really bad, right? Like, the rest of the deck is dirt cheap, so it's not the end of the world. But I don't know, just paying $10 for a rare just does not sit right with me. That's crazy. Oh, let's take a look at Sabo. This was really high last week, right? Yeah, this... I did say in my video that I think this was a bait to buy. Certainly a bit of market manipulation going on here. $13 for this was never going to be that good in Koala. And as we've seen from some of the new reveals, now with the Kuma and the Dragon, I don't know if this is going to see any play at all in Koala. It's certainly not going to be staple, and it's certainly not worth $13. That one was a little crazy. What about this Sanji? He's slowly rising. As we predicted around here when this was around $7, this is just going to get more and more popular as we edge into those purple straw hat formats. Both green purple and blue purple are going to be the best deck in their respective formats, and this is a key part of both, realistically. Here's one I think is actually a really good buy, right? Luffy, if you're planning on playing blue purple Luffy, you will need some of these as an option. Now, this is not in every blue purple Luffy deck, however, it is in a good amount of them at sort of 2 copies-ish. If you don't have copies of this, $9 for a secret rare is really, really good value. This is a quality, just good generic card that even if blue purple Luffy were to get banned or kit or something, this will see play in the future. This is just a good card. And at $9, I do think this is a really good buy. If you are planning on playing that deck, make sure you've got a couple of these. What the f... Why is Gum Gum Jet Gatling $10? Hang on, I've got to check this on Card Market. $10? I can pick this up for £3. Someone's bought them all. Look at this. 171 sold in the last 3 days. Man, that's crazy. $10. Sheesh. I mean, I know it's reasonably popular in green purple Luffy. And this is an old card. Man, $10? It's like finger pistol pricing. Well, I'm not going to lie. I didn't see this getting this high. I thought this was already ridiculous at $6. I did not see this getting to 10. If anyone called this one out, congratulations to them, because that is bonkers. In the EU, this has risen by around £1. Nothing too significant. Well, that feels bad. Shocking, man. What the heck? Ah, dear. Yeah, the rest of these SRs have finally dropped to what I think is about their base. Shakky was all the way up at 9. Now she's at 3. I think 3 is a reasonable price for this card. It's a very good green card. It'll be stapling green decks for the future. But $3 is about where I'd expect to see it. And Smoker, yeah, he was at 10. Now he's at 2. This is about the sort of time where I think if you are like someone who likes to have playsets of all the SRs for OP10, I would just start picking them all up. Most of these are pretty reasonable. It was only the Sanji right on the last slide that still had significant value. Everything else is quite cheap. Or certainly quite affordable. So very, very worth picking up at this price. Oh, this one I was thinking about. Yeah, Kuzan has shot up in Japan. This is seeing a lot of play in Lucci in OP11. There's definitely been a buyout on this card. It's shot from $2 to $10 in about a week, which is kind of bonkers. But yeah, this is stabilizing around 10. Dropping off a bit potentially. There's one here for $8 plus shipping. Let's take a look at this in the EU. Which one is it? That one. Is this the cheap print? Yeah, £5. That's quite high, actually. It's more than I was expecting. Oh, there's the PRB print. Yeah, 4. Around £4 or £5 in the EU. Certainly a lot cheaper than $10 in the US. But still, interesting that this has increased, because this was around like £2 when PRB came out. And yeah, you can see it was around even less in America. $2 just as soon as March. So pretty cool to see this one rising up. I hope you got these. I didn't call this one out. Didn't see this rising quite so soon, but here we are. What a time to be alive. Anything else on page 3? We'll make this the last page. Bad manners up to 5. These zero costs, man, they need to do one of those files with these zero costs in. You know, like the best selections. I'd love to see that. That would be great. Someone's bought out the koala all tarts. I don't think this is going to see any play in yellow black koala. I can't lie. I just don't think this is very good. Uta up to $10. Yeah, this got bought out again once it started seeing significant success in Lucci. Let's take a look at this in on card market. Here it is. Well, there's none in the UK. Let me turn off that filter. I tend to only buy from the UK just because it's lower shipping. Oh, there's one here for £1. I don't know what's going on with this one. Why is this so much cheaper? Either way, average price of this looks to be around £4 or £5. Yeah, $9 is not too far ahead. That 5 is around $7, so not too crazy. This is seeing success in Lucci at the moment. I wonder if we'll see that continue into EB and into OP11. I imagine we will, but who knows? This is Ennie's lobby at home. Pretty interesting. Nothing else too crazy on this page. A couple of increases here and there. So I think we'll stop there. That's enough for today. But yeah, just a final word. OP10, if you're someone who likes collecting playsets, now is a great time. EB02, do not pay pre-sale prices. Please wait for the set to come out. These cards will be more affordable than you think. And certainly more affordable than pre-release prices. If you've made it all the way to the end of the video, firstly, thank you. Secondly, thank you for watching This Week in One Piece. Make sure you subscribe for next week's This Week in One Piece, where we'll be having a mini market watch covering the current prices of EB02, as that set will be out by then. Good luck in your EB02 boxes if you're opening any. I have got 2 coming that I'm planning to open. We will have a video on the channel as soon as I can get my hands on them. Haven't managed to get them ahead of schedule like some other people. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a lovely rest of your day.